Welcome to Appointy Tutorials. In this video we're going to talk about the Customization tab. The first tab under the Customization tab is the Email Customization. From here you can customize all the emails that are sent out to the customers. As of now, you cannot edit the emails that are sent to the administrator or the staff members. As you can see, each email has different headings: reminder alert prior to appointee, reminder alert for approval, waiting for approval, so on and so forth. So it lets you know which email you're editing. Now the most common one is the booking confirmation. So you can click on the email and you would see the option to edit the email. So once you click on that, you would see the email itself. You can click anywhere over here at the bottom and edit the email. So if you want to add any additional instructions, or if you want to give any additional information to your customers, you can click over here and add that. Now what I would advise that you do not change any of these codes over here, because that would mess up the email and the customers would start getting email in code or gibberish. So the first thing that you need to take care of is do not change anything over here which says business logo, because the system would automatically pick up the business logo over here. Then below that it would say when, what, with and where. So when would be the time, what would be the service, with would be the staff details or the staff name, and then where is I've added that as the staff description over here. You can add the meeting location. Now as you can see over here, all of these appointment description, service description has these two curly brackets around that. So what this basically means is that I've pulled up these details from Smarty Tags. Now at the top you would see view. You can have the source code, which looks something like this. You can also see the visual aids, which is the default view. Then you can click on edit. You can undo or redo any changes that you've done, cut, copy, paste. You can also select all, find and replace. Then we have insert, so you can insert an image, you can insert a link, you can also insert a media, table, special characters, so on and so forth. Then we have the format. So if you're typing, if you want to mention something and you want it to be in bold, italics, underlined, so you could format it over here. Then you can also add a table with rows and columns. Below that it tells you the paragraph. So basically this is the font size if you want something to look like a heading. So over here you can select that. Again, we have the redo and undo buttons, the format buttons over here. So this basically looks like any Word document that you've ever edited. So you have the same, almost the same features over here. So you can align center, align right, so on and so forth. Then the thing that you need to take care, or you could use the most, is the Smarty Tag. So basically what Smarty Tag is that it will pick up the data that's already there on our system and it will automatically populate that on the email. So if you want to mention the customer's name again, first name, last name, or customer's email again. So the way that it would work is you put it or click wherever you want that data, and then you say let's say customer's zip code, and then you can say okay, customer's city, so on and so forth. The last one is add-ons. So if you want to mention the add-on that they've selected, you can do that. We have meeting location, total cost, so on and so forth. So we have all these options. Then we have the font type. You can change the font type, and then we have the font size. Once you've made all the changes, you can click on save and publish, and those changes would have taken effect. Now if you don't want to make those changes, or if you want to reset the email to default, before you click on edit, just below the window that opens up shows you a little bit of an email, you would see reset it to default. So when you click on that, it will reset the email to the default email, which looks something like this without the editing. So it just says what, when and with. So it tells you when the appointment's for, with whom, and the staff member and the service name. So that's the default email, and as you had seen previously, I had made a lot of changes, and so can you. So you can make all those changes, add buttons, you can remove these buttons, so on and so forth. Now if you do know coding, source code would be the best way to actually change something, but if you don't know it, I would say do not mess around with this, because then it'll start sending gibberish emails. So if you're not sure, please initiate a chat with us or contact us, and we can get our IT guide to get this fixed for you. Now, email customization is a paid plan feature, so you'll have to upgrade to a paid plan for this. So those are the email customizations, all the emails that are being sent out. We also have one that sends out the reviews. As I had mentioned in my previous videos, you could manually send out review emails asking the customers to fill out a review and let them know, or let other customers know how good your services are. You can change that link and change it to your Google My Business review. So whatever they are reviewing, or the reviews that they post, then show up on your Google My Business or Google review page. So you can also do Yelp or any other thing, because we do have, as I've shown you earlier, you can insert a link over here. So that link would redirect the customers when they get the email to send a review on your desired platform. The one below that, the tab below the customized email is add-ons. So add-on basically is upselling a product or anything else that would increase the cost of the service. So in the example that we've mentioned over here, so if you have a salon or a spa, you could share, you could sell shampoos or scented lotions or oils or candles or stuff like that. Now this feature, what it basically does, first of all, it's optional. You cannot have it mandatory pre-selected. So whenever you add add-ons, it is an option for the customers to choose the add-on. The second thing is that the add-on will not affect the service duration. So let's say, for example, you are a massage parlor, and you have options where you can have different types of oils that are being sold to the customer. You can also add those to the services. So let's say a person books a massage, and then you have a special scented oil that you want to sell or upsell. You can say, hey, this add-on is an additional $10 above the service cost. What this would do is, let's say the service cost is $30 and the add-on is $10. The total due amount that the customer would see would now be $40. The massage, let's say the duration is 60 minutes, it will still remain 60 minutes. The add-ons do not change the service duration, they just change the cost. To add the add-on, just click on Add an Add-on. It'll ask you to type in the name of the add-on. You can put in a cost. Now you also have the ability to sell out variants. In the variants, you can say, let's say a small bottle is gonna cost you $10. Sorry. Then you can have another variant, say a medium bottle is gonna cost you $15. So you can have multiple variants for the same add-ons, and you can have as many variants as you like. Now below that, you have the option to show multiple times for each service selected, or show once per order. So depending on which type of option you choose, the customer would see the add-on either multiple times or a single time. You can also link the add-on to a particular service. So if you want, you can select all, so irrespective of whichever service the customer chooses, he would still see the add-on. And if you unselect a couple of them, you can then decide and create separate add-ons for each service as well. Once you're done with that, just click on Done and click on Add. So this is how the customer is going to see it. He's going to see a drop down, and then he can choose whichever bottle size or different variants. Do remember to click on Save Changes once you've edited or made any changes to the add-ons. Otherwise the changes would not be saved. The next tab in the customization tab is the intake form. Now by default the intake form is disabled, so the first thing that you would need to do is click on enable the intake form. The purpose of the intake form is that by default we ask some specific questions to the customers, like their first name, last name, email address. You have the option to add more questions in the registration page, like their city, state, zip, address and mobile number. These by default become mandatory for the customer to fill out. Apart from this, if you have any other questions, like you want to know the height of the customer, the weight of the customer, or if you want them to give you a brief description of the reason why they're booking the appointment, you can create intake forms. Now, to create an intake form, what you would need to do is click on add field. Now I have already added some questions over here, so by default it would look the same as it looked in the add-on. So let me just remove the add-on. So like this, it says add add-on. By default on the intake form also it'll be blank and it'll just have a word which says add field. Now once you click on add field, you would see again it would say enter the field name, which would be the type of question that you're asking the customer. Then we have the type. So we have different types of questions that you can ask and different types of fields. Like we have a text in which the customer can type in the answer. The one below that is number. So let's say for example you want to know the age of the customer. So you type in what's your age and then choose number. So what would happen in this field is that the customer would not be able to type in any alphabets. He would need to type in a number. Now you also have the option below that to make it mandatory or keep it optional. Again, you can link it to multiple services or you can decide whichever service you want to. Now apart from the number, we have a date field, we have address field, and if you scroll further down we have heading, single choices, multiple choices. Now the difference between the single choice and the multiple choice is in a single choice the customer sees these choices and they can select one of those. The multiple choices basically are like check boxes. So if you say multiple choice and if I add them, you can see a preview of how it looks like. So what you can do is you can ask them a question and then you can make that as a heading. So something, give me a minute, let me just add those fields. So I've added a field that says would you like a welcome drink? If yes, please choose an option. So I'll make that a heading, I'll add that, and then I can move the question. Instead of age of person, let's say you want wine. Okay, you click on add and then you add another field. You say whiskey. Now again, you can keep it required or you can keep it optional. For required fields, you would see the red star, red asterisk, which means these are mandatory. So it'll look something like this. Would you like a welcome drink? If yes, please choose an option from below. Let's say the customer wants both wine and whiskey, so he can choose both of them. Now that's why it's known as, that's why we've typed it in as multiple choice. In single choices, he would see a list and he would need to choose either one of them. So another option would be, again, we can say welcome drink, and we say wine, and we say whiskey, and we add that. Now in this scenario, the customer has to choose either one. He can't select both of them. That's why this one is single choice, the other one is multiple choices. The next one below that is a list. So the same thing, instead of seeing the options like you did in this one which says single choice, they would see a list of options and they could choose any one of those. Then the one below that is text area, which looks something like this. Give me a minute, let me just add that. So it says, it'll ask the question and it'll have a text box. Once you've made the changes, again make sure, so this is for both add-ons and intake form, do click on save changes, otherwise the changes would not take effect. And you can have as many questions as you like. The only thing is that the customer would then need to scroll down if there are multiple questions. You can also have headings. There is a limit of some around 2,500 characters over here as well, give or take, but you can add a lot more in this field name. So if you have let's say a terms and conditions which is exceeding the terms and conditions in the booking policy, you can add that over here and give the I agree button in a multiple choice and make it mandatory, so they have to select I agree, otherwise they would not be able to move forward. Now we also have the option, if you scroll further down, to automatically fill in the customer's information from the data that's saved during the previous appointments. Now this works only in the scenario where you as the administrator have enabled Appointy login, because when the customer is booking the appointment for the first time, the system asks them to create a password, and that remains on Appointy's database. So the system and the software remembers that, hey, it's the same guy because he's using the same email and the password. So again, this is how the intake form works. You can add additional questions. If you have any queries about this, you can always ask us on the chat, and we will be more than happy to help you out. Now the next one is look and feel. From this, basically what you can do is you can change the color scheme of the customer interface. So you can add a background image, you can enhance your business logo, you can change the selection button. So if I select something, it becomes blue. Let's say for example your website is green or black and yellow themed, so you can have that theme over here. The only thing that you need to make sure is that you should know coding, CSS coding for this. If you do not know coding, you can ask us over the chat or the phone, or email us a picture and say, hey, I want this button to be changed, I want this button to look like this. Now because we have a CSS coding tab, there's a lot that we can change, but then that depends on which plan you're on and which level of customization can we do. So let's say for example the next button, you don't want it to be on the bottom right, you want it to be on the top right. We can change that, but again you would need to be in the enterprise plan for that. So there are certain changes which are simple, like a background color change or adding a background image. Those are you can go for the lower plans and have that, but others which require extensive customization, you would need to upgrade to a higher plan. So and if you know CSS coding, you could do it yourself. That would be great. You can also get your web designer or developer to actually help you out with that, an IT guy if you have over there. If not, you can obviously get back to us over the chat or email or phone, and we'll be more than happy to help you out with this. So that's the customization tab. See you in the next video.